The Rococo style is characterized by lightness, elegance, and an exuberant use of curving natural forms and ornamentation. The word Rococo is derived from the French word rocaille, which denoted the shell-covered rockwork that was used to decorate artificial grottos. In the Rococo style, walls, ceilings, and moldings were decorated with delicate interlacings of curves and countercurves based on the fundamental shapes of the C and the S, as well as with shell forms and other natural shapes. Asymmetrical design was the rule. Light pastels, ivory white, and gold were the predominant colors, and Rococo decorators frequently used mirrors to enhance the sense of open space. French Rococo painting in general was characterized by easygoing, light-hearted treatments of mythological and courtship themes, rich and delicate brushwork, a relatively light tonal key, and sensuous coloring. Rococo sculpture was notable for its intimate scale, its naturalism, and its varied surface effects. From France, the Rococo style spread in the 1730s to the Catholic German-speaking lands, where it was adapted to a brilliant style of religious architecture that combined French elegance with South German fantasy, as well as with a lingering Baroque interest in dramatic spatial and plastic effects. Characteristics of the Rococo include excessively ornate or flamboyant designs, the excessive use of organic lines, asymmetry and informality in interiors, recurrent use of the oval as a hierarchical form in space and facades, the use of gold plating as a recurring motif, reinterpretation of the orders did not conform to tradition. It crystallized in residential spaces of absolute monarchs and elites. Gardens will expand the ludic aspect of architecture and nature, which indicates a sense of playfulness. And the typical materials in Rococo furniture included bronze, gildings, carved wood, stucco, marble, and porcelain.
In the 18th century, when the Rococo period thrived, there was this development of overly decorated and ornate spaces. As this period is also known as the late Baroque era, the architectural characteristics evolved from deeper meaning, more spiritual structures to theatric, extravagant pieces. As the Baroque produced architecture involving light and curvilinears, the Rococo also used these, as well as bringing architecture into a more decorative and expensive light. A new appreciation of art and craftsmanship came about society at that time, as artisans and craftspeople were gaining influence from their work. And so this led to incorporating art and creativity into architectural pieces. There was a heavy focus on overindulgence in ornamentation, and also a focus on the use of gold plating, organic shapes, and furniture, which involved bronze, wood, marble, anything that was used to design interior spaces. There was also an effort to give each building a sense of child's play and carelessness, especially for the elite who wanted to use their money by indulging in materialistic things. One piece of architecture that best displays the characteristics used during the Rococo period by both its exterior and interior is the Palace of Versailles, as it greatly displays the use of intricate and lavish details. King Louis XIV was the residence there, and so it was immensely decorated in the interior spaces, as the more decorated the space was, represented the more power that person held. In this building specifically, the Hall of Mirrors was very influential in displaying the characteristics found in this time period. But as its interior is expressive in the Rococo style, the exterior is just as telling in each of its specific details, such as the gold plating and marble statues.
Sanssouci Palace and Gardens are located in Potsdam, Germany. It was the residence for Frederick the Great. He was a studious monarch who was also a musician and a lover of philosophy and art. It became a space for the monarch and his guests to enjoy concerts, plays, and poetry. The gardens create a playful experience that creates a masterpiece, and just like in the Château de Marly, veneers are a part of the design. We can also see that the use of color and the integration of painting is an important element in this building that completely follows the Rococo characteristics. Amalienburg Palace, located in Munich, Germany. It was built and named for Amalia, the wife of Elector Karl of Bavaria, daughter of the Austrian Emperor. It was designed by Francois, constructed between 1734 and 1739. The exterior of the broad single-story construction has a pale pink and white stucco facade. Its architectural center is the round hall of mirrors which curves around the otherwise straight garden front, and it's vaulted by a flattened dome. On its roof, a circular platform with a skillfully forged balustrade served as a shooting stand for the Elector's piston hunt. Two equally sized wings adjoin the hall of mirrors. The house, hunting rooms, resting chambers, a kitchen, and other rooms for the court society to enjoy their distractions. Charlottenburg Palace is a Rococo-style castle inspired by the Palace of Versailles and is the oldest palace in Berlin. It was built at the end of the 17th century and expanded in the 18th century. It was designed by Johann Arner Nering. The facade is decorated with Corinthian pilasters, with ornamented halls and a large formal garden. The interior furnishings are rich in paintings and sculpture with textiles and mirrors.
As a group of people within a society who possess the same social economic status. When looking back in history at the different eras the world has gone through, we use social classes to determine the division each area put on society. Some periods, like this one, only contribute to one, maybe two social classes. This is the case for the Rococo movement. Rococo art was intricate while also keeping a light and whimsical feel to it, reflecting an era of wealth and power. The painting on the left is called Pleasure of the Ball by Jean Watteau. It is showing the significance of a ball. The second painting is called The Swing. It's showing the elegance of a lady while also inviting a playful mannerism. It is by Jean Fragard. Due to the style reflecting wealth and power, we see the upper class of society take to the style the greatest. By 1735, Rococo had become the reigning style of interior designs. In that year, German Bochrad created two striking rooms in the interior of the Hotel de Sambos in Paris. These are both seen in the slide. The Oval Salon and the Salon of the Princess. Both rooms are painted with Rococo art while showing the same style in the ornaments that are placed on the wall. As the style progressed, the style was brought into upscale townhouses owned by upper-class members of society, sticking with the era mostly staying in the upper class.
I'm Aiden Arnold, and today I will be talking about the important architects of the Rococo style. Today I will be talking about 4 architects that I believe epitomize the Rococo style of architecture. First one being Francois de Courvilliers. He was born of Belgian descent, where he began off as a sculptor and then later transitioned into being an architect. Next we have Balthasar Neumann, who was actually born in the Czech Republic, where he would spend most of his life in Germany. He began his career as a military engineer, and that then transitioned into architecture later on. We have Johann Michael Fischer, who was again another German, and he started his endeavors as a stonemason before becoming an architect, which would end up helping his skills and kind of his performance as an architect. And lastly, we have Andrzej Gabriel. He was a lifelong architect who was born into that kind of family chain, as that is what his father did. So Francois de Courvilliers was also known as the Elder, and this was because he had a son that participated in the same profession that was known as the Younger, which is pretty interesting. So I want to dive into some of the works that Francois was able to create during this time. And I want to start off with that picture that you see in the top right corner of the slide. That is the Hall of Mirrors, and this is a small but very obviously breathtaking room, and it really showcased his use and mastery of the Rococo style. Interestingly enough, it's actually a hunting lodge up in, I think it was Munich, Germany, and its walls are adorned with an intricate stucco work, a delicate frescoes and mirrors, and this is able to create like an illusion of space and luminosity. And so it makes the Hall of Mirrors such a noteworthy place is that clever use of mirrors, and it's really able to enhance the light in the space. And the mirrors are so strategically placed all along the walls that it kind of reflects and amplifies the natural light coming into the room. And this really just heightens the room's beauty and elegance, in my opinion and others. And I also want to talk about the picture that you see in the bottom right. So these are both of his kind of most noteworthy works during his time, and 2 that really reflected his Rococo excellence, how he was able to master that style. And so this is the Courvilliers Theater. And so this interior is really a masterpiece of the Rococo design. And it features ornate stucco work, intricate carvings, and lavish decorations, as you can see. And the auditorium is adorned with gilt detailing, elegant seating, and a ceiling fresco that depicts scenes from Greek mythology, which is really interesting. So that's right above that if you keep looking up. And then these are some other works on the left that I just included. Continuing on with Francois, he was born in 1695 and lived until 1768. As I said before, he was born in Belgium, and then he spent most of the entirety of his profession as an architect really in Germany. That's where most of his projects took place, including, as I discussed in that last slide, the hunting lodge. That building is really just a masterpiece of Rococo architecture, and I think it just does a good job of kind of epitomizing and summarizing the work that he was able to do during his time. And so just throughout his career, Francois really played a pivotal role in shaping the architectural landscape of really wherever he went, and just he left an incredible mark on the Rococo movements. And his style was characterized by a harmonious blend of decorative elements, asymmetrical forms, and a keen sensitivity to light and space. His innovative designs continue to be admired for their beauty, sophistication, and enduring appeal. Next up, I want to talk about Balthasar Neumann. And so I want to start off by guiding your attention to the left side of the slide to the very grand staircase that you see. So this staircase is actually at the Wurzburg residence in Germany. And the staircase is known as the Treppenhaus, which also means the grand staircase. And it's really just a triumph of architectural ingenuity and artistic expression. Here, Newman incorporated large windows and skylights into the staircase, and this really just floods the space with light and just kind of enhances its very grand aesthetic. And this play of light and shadows adds a certain depth and dimension to the architectural details and the decorative elements that I think kind of goes unnoticed. You know, you can see there in the pictures just kind of the work of the shadows really, I think, adds a lot of depth to the perception here. And so the walls of the staircase are adorned with an intricate stucco work and sculptural reliefs and decorative motifs that are inspired by classical mythology and Greek mythology and whatnot. And at the top of the staircase is a magnificent central dome that rises above the landing, as you can see there. And this really serves as a focal point of like kind of the crowning achievements of Newman's design. And the dome really just features this spectacular fresco painting of Giovanni Battista Tiepolo. So, yeah, and I mean, I think that this staircase at the Wurzburg residence really just stands as a testament to Balthasar Neumann's architectural genius and just it's a really awe-inspiring architectural wonder of the Rococo period. So diving more into Balthasar, he was born in 1687, where he lived until 1753. He was born in the Czech Republic, but served most of his years as an architect in Germany. He actually started off his career as a military engineer, he would then transition into architecture, and I believe that previous profession probably helped him out. His designs are characterized by dynamic spatial arrangements, imaginative use of light, and a masterful integration of decorative elements. And as I talked about in the previous slide, one of his most iconic pieces of work is that Wurzburg residence, and specifically the Wurzburg residence stairs. And so throughout his career, Balthasar just received numerous honors and accolades for his contributions to the arts and sciences, and of course his architectural successes. And I think his legacy to this day is celebrated, and just his influence for the Rococo style was truly something special. Next up, I want to talk about Johann Michael Fischer. And so specifically, I want to talk about his work with the Ottenburg Abbey. And so this is kind of a collection of buildings, and he was one of the main architects that was able to work on this collection. And so the centerpiece of the Ottenburg Abbey is its majestic basilica, which you can see on the left side of the slide. And so that basilica is dedicated to St. Alexander and St. Theodore. And Fischer's design for the basilica is a masterpiece of Rococo architecture in my mind. And it features a grand facade that's adorned with different sculptures and decorative elements. And it holds just a vast interior with intricate stucco work and frescoes. And it has a magnificent dome on the top, as you can see. And so the other thing that he designed here that's, well, some of the most notable of the designs is in the middle of the slide, you can see that library space. And so this was the Abbey's library, and this is considered to be one of the most beautiful Rococo libraries in the entire world, never mind just here in Germany. And the library's interior is adorned with an exquisite stucco work, ceiling frescoes, just as the basilica, and it also has a lot of finely crafted woodwork, which I think really ties together the piece. So who was Johann Michael Fischer? Johann Michael Fischer was born in 1692, where he lived until 1766. He was a German architect, and he lived mostly in Bavaria. And so he started out his career as a stonemason, and eventually he turned to architecture. And I think this gave him a really neat, keen sense of detail in especially in his interior spaces. And so Fisher's architectural style was characterized by his dynamic use of space, elaborate ornamentation, and theatrical flair. And I think he played a crucial role in popularizing the Rococo aesthetic, especially in Bavaria, but not only Bavaria, but in Germany. And his particularly the design of his churches and palaces, I think really boosted his reputation and gave him prominence as a Rococo designer. And so throughout his career, he was very honored for his different contributions, especially to the German society, in abundance of ways. And I think this really just cements himself as one of the most influential architects of the Rococo style. Next up, I want to talk about Anne-Jacques Gabriel. And so I want to talk about specifically that staircase that you see in the bottom middle of the slide. And so this staircase, also known as the Gabriel staircase, is located in the Elysee Palace. And so it's a grand double revolutionary staircase that's located in the central part of the palace. And it's renowned for its elegant and harmonious design, really. It features a pair of intertwined spiral ramps, as you can see there at the bottom. And they ascend gracefully around a central axis, and this allows visitors to go up and down without crossing any paths, which is kind of cool. It has iron railings and a carved stone around the edge, and decorative motifs that are kind of typical of the Rococo style. The walls of the staircase are embellished with stucco work and sculptures, which adds a lot of interesting detail. And it's been just a backdrop for numerous official events and ceremonies as the years have gone by. It's a very nice place to be. And it remains as one of the most kind of iconic architectural features of the entire palace, really. And I think it really just serves as a testament to Anne-Jacques Gabriel's skills as both an architect and just as a talent in general. Just being able to have that type of vision. So Gabriel was born in 1698 in Paris, where he lived until 1782. And so during his time as a French architect, he really just was able to leave an undeniable mark on the architectural landscape of France. And being born into a family of architects obviously helped him throughout his career, as he started off really with a head start. He knew the different intricacies of architecture and the work that they have to put in, and he had obviously some kind of concept of design. And I think that his father was only able to really hone in those skills and develop them throughout his young career. And so Gabriel's architectural style is characterized by its elegance, symmetry, and its classical influences, which makes him a really prominent figure from the transition from Baroque to Rococo to neoclassical architecture in France. And early on, he was able to gain favor at the French court, and this was able to allow him to receive a numerous amount of different commissions throughout his career. So he has a lot of different designs, and I encourage you to look more into them, as I can't cover them all today. And lastly, I just want to thank you for taking the time to tune in and listen to my presentation on the architects of the Rococo style. And appreciate these last two images before you leave that really just epitomizes what the Rococo style is all about. Thank you very much. Have a good one.